Never do
Got here late. I
that.
said I'd make a
Never.
report by 9.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We can have everyone's attention. It's 7 o'clock. This is the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners. Today is Wednesday, July 25th. And for the record, 7 p.m. If you have a phone, please put it on silent or vibrate. As an announcement, Commissioner Fleece is excused from the meeting. He is out of town. We will open the meeting up with our invocation and our pledge. And we'll have Commissioner Henschel lead us in the invocation and pledge. You can stand, please.
Shall we bow? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beautiful area we live in, and we thank you for all the people that come to visit our area, and we just pray for their safety as they come and enjoy their vacations here. Father, we pray for the safety and well-being of all the citizens who live here, and we thank you especially for our veterans that go and put so much at risk for the good of our country, and we just pray that you would put a special blessing upon them for their service. Just be with this meeting today and give us wisdom and knowledge and insight that we might do what is right for the people of this county. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next item is the roll call attendance. We have the clerk do the roll call.
Commissioner Gilman?
Here.
Henschel?
Yes.
Lemkool?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
Thomas?
Yep.
Max Bauer? Here. Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Inman?
Here. Next item is the approval of the June 27th, 2012 regular board meeting. We have a motion on that. Moved by Commissioner Thomas.
Support.
Second by Commissioner Henschel to approve the June 27th, 2012 regular board meeting minutes. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. Now we come to our first public comment. There's also public comment towards the end of our meeting. And it's been our protocol that if there's a particular item on the agenda that you wish to speak about, if you could get my attention, please, and we will make sure you can speak on that behalf, or you can do it at public comment. All right? So we'll have the clerk read the rules for public comment.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Orders of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized, and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson.
Okay, you've heard the rules for public comment. Does any member of the public wish to speak at this time? Seeing no indication, we will close public comment. We will move on to the approval of the agenda. Need a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda.
Support. Okay. Moved by Commissioner Gilman, second by Commissioner Henschel to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. Very good. We have no special orders of business, and that leads us to the consent calendar. For those of the audience here and at home, these are items that we have received, we're attempting to receive and file, and other items that have been discussed at our previous meetings during the month, every Wednesday at 7 p.m., and these are preliminary recommendations, and we take them up for full approval at the end of the month, and that's the purpose behind the consent calendar. So we will have the clerk read the consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, Correspondence from Boom Boom Club dated June 22nd. Number 2, Board of Public Works Study Session minutes of April 23rd. Number 3, Board of Public Works Special Finance Committee minutes of May 7th. Number 4, Northern Michigan Substance Abuse Services Incorporated minutes of May 7th. Number 5, Grand Traverse County Road Commission minutes of May 17th. Number 6, Board of Public Works Special Finance Committee minutes of May 23rd. Number 7, Department of Human Services Board minutes of May 25. Number 8, Board of Public Works minutes of June 14. Number 9, Northern Lakes Community Mental Health minutes of June 21. Referrals, none. Approvals, the Public Health and Safety Committee did not meet this month. The Resource Management Administration Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. Number 10, Area Agency on Aging Annual Implementation Plan. Number 11, Project Fresh Grant from Bay Area Senior Advocates. Number 12, Personal Protective Equipment Policy. Number 13, District Court Employee Stipend. Number 14, Tuberculosis Mycobacterium Services Agreement Renewal. Number 15, Mitchell and McCormick Annual Software Maintenance and Support Agreement. Number 16, Healthy Future Services Agreement Amendment Number 7. Number 17, Grant Award from the Zonta Club of Traverse City. Number 18, Community Corrections Plan and Application for Fiscal Year 2013. Number 19, Boardman River Dams Project Memorandum of Understanding. Number 20, Appointment of Health Officer. Ways and Means Committee recommends approval of the following resolutions. Number 21, Budget Adjustments. Number 22, Resolution approving redemption of all the callable outstanding Grand Traverse County, Garfield, and Peninsula Townships Sewer and Water Improvements Projects Bonds, Series 2004, redemption prior to maturity, and amendment to contract with Peninsula Township. Number 23, Prime Rate Phone Trunks Contract Renewal.
Okay, you've heard the clerk read the consent calendar. Does any member of the public wish to pull any of the items off the consent calendar for further discussion? Seeing none, we will now move to the county commission. Does any commissioner wish to pull an item? Commissioner Gilman.
C19, please.
That was what now?
C19, the Boardman River
No.
Dams project.
Okay, 19. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, seeing...
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item C19.
Okay. Support. All right, moved by Commissioner Wheelock, seconded by Commissioner Thomas to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 19. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Henschel?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Gilman?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes, passes. We will now move on to items that have been removed from the consent calendar. That takes us back to item number 19, Boardman River Dams Project Memorandum of Understanding. That was pulled by Commissioner Gilman. Commissioner Gilman, you have the floor.
I just wanted the record to show my disagreement with it.
Okay.
Move for approval.
All right, moved by Commissioner Thomas, seconded by Commissioner Richardson to approve the Boardman River Dams Project Memorandum of Understanding as presented in our packet. Is there discussion? Commissioner Henschel.
Just for the record, I have some concerns about the rights of property owners along that area that I feel like those rights are not being addressed, whether they have rights, thought they had rights. The perception was there that they had those rights, and we've done nothing to address that. So I'll be voting no on anything moving forward with the dams project until I see some progress in addressing those concerns.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So the motion on the floor is to approve the item as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Lemko?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Gilman?
No.
Henschel?
No.
Inman?
Yes. So motion passes with 2 nays and 6 yeses. All right. Moving on to the administrator's report. Dave, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The first item on here is the approval of the amendment to the solid waste ordinance, and that has gone through the gauntlet to move the responsibilities and obligations for solid waste from the Board of Public Works to the Board of Commissioners. And it has a lengthy public comment period and so on and so forth. This is the last step in the process to have the board approve.
Okay. Commissioner Wheelock, do you have anything to add to this before we?
Well, you know, I think you've all been kept up to date pretty well. You know, this, as Dave said, is a very lengthy process. It requires, you know, the old ordinance required a 45-day public input process. The amendment brings this ordinance into similar form to other Grand Traverse County ordinances. As you remember, the ordinance was originally drafted for the Board of Public Works and included the intergovernmental agreements between the townships and the Board of Public Works. All of that's been cleaned up. You know, I guess I want to give credit to Bob and his staff for a lot of time putting this together because it's very much easier to read in today's world than compared to what it was a week ago. So,
You had nowhere to go but up.
It's true.
you know, I've sat here
Yeah.
for 14 years and repeatedly told you how bad
It's a
of
good
document
job.
ordinance
This is-
17 was.
this is
and
good.
This is good. And the appendixes in it that show the maps of what parts are in the curbside district and what qualifies as pickups of bulky items and stuff. It's just, this is a good document.
Commissioner Lemko.
I think the citizens of Grand Traverse County owe Commissioner Wheelock a huge thanks for him shepherding this process through. This was probably one of the shortest time frames of getting any kind of an ordinance put together and getting it done in a timely manner. You can give all the credit you want to, Sonny, to Bob and his staff, but you're the one that really shepherded it through, and I think the citizens of our community should know that Sonny has really done an excellent job. And with that, I'll make a motion that we approve it, the ordinance 17.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Lemko, second by Commissioner Thomas. Is there discussion?
Yeah, I would have to add that the Resource Recovery Council, for the last 2 or 3 years, was a lot different than they were 10 years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
And they all had to work together, and they did. Because I could remember there was some years there was not much progress made.
Right.
So,
Any other commissioners have comment? Any members of the public have any comment on this item? Okay. Well, I would just want to echo Herb's comment that, Sonny, as a board, we really appreciate you spearheading this thing, and I know you've worked tirelessly to get this through all the townships and get this thing going. And, you know, if you have to outline maybe a few attributes in your political career, this certainly would be it right at the top, so thank you for your work on that. Okay, we have a motion to support to approve the amendment to the solid waste ordinance number 17, rules and regulations. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right. Move on to claims.
There's a summary of the claims for July on your desk, totaling $7.6 million and change. And if you have any comments or questions on that, I'll do my best to answer those. Veterans Affairs Staffing Amendment,
Why don't we just take them one at a time, and then we'll just vote on them, and then we'll move on to the
Oh,
next
I'm
one.
sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the claims in amount of $7,645,385.04.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Wheelock, second by Commissioner Henschel to approve the claims report as presented. Any discussion? Roll call on claims, please.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Thomas?
yep.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Gilman?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Inman.
Yes. All right, motion passes. All right.
Okay, Veterans Affairs Staffing Amendment relates to the addition of new staff to the Veterans Affairs Department. I think Dean has calculated that and has some information for us.
We had Human Resources actually calculated the cost. I think that information may have already been provided, but to fill the position for the balance of this year, the cost would be approximately $18,000. If you're going to do that, I would recommend that we take that out of the board's contingency line item. If you recall, we started the year with a $100,000 contingency. $25,000 went to Civic Center South, and approximately $7,500 went to the Area Agency on Aging. I think it was $7,503. Where the balance after this $18,000, if that's what you would decide to do, would leave $49,497 in your contingency line item.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Max Bauer.
I would move to approve the Veterans Affairs Staffing Amendment Plan, funding the staff out of Board of Commissioners Contingency Fund.
Support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Maxbauer, supported by Commissioner Gilman, to approve the Veterans Affairs Staffing Amendment Plan as presented. Discussion? Commissioner Wheelock.
Well, the only discussion I have is I think we, as part of this, and as we look at our 2013 budget, we need to evaluate all of those positions in that office and determine whether or not we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. You know, I think we're all pretty comfortable that we're doing a good job there, but we still at the same time need to be, you know, prudent about it.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Henschel.
I'll just comment, this office brings a lot of our federal dollars back here that otherwise may not be coming back here because they help the veterans get the benefits that they've earned. And you know, the bang for the buck, I think out of this office, the Veterans Affairs is, you know, head and shoulders above most other departments.
Okay. Commissioner Rich?
I obviously support this, but what I'm hoping is as this person is hired and starts to work, is that we start seeing some reduction of the wait times that we've seen. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there'll be enough history in the books by the time we're making budget decisions for next year. No. But so certainly, I'm very hopeful that those 30-day plus wait times for veterans to get an appointment with our Department of Veterans Affairs starts to reduce over time, and partially because of doing this.
All right. Commissioner Maxbauer.
Well, the short time that I was over in Mr. Lurchin's office, he's got a television screen monitor in his office, and he's not watching television. He's watching the people that are coming up to the counter while he's serving veterans. And it's a revolving door. I mean, people are there. Anytime I have gone in that building, they're sitting in the chairs outside the conference room. They're standing at the counter. They're in the offices. That office is busy, and when there's that kind of demand and that kind of return on investment, I think we have to fund it.
Okay. Anybody else? The only comment I got is let's hope that things stabilize with the activity level and adding another person, because in all likelihood we could see an increase in activity, which may bring us right back to our same timeline.
That is true.
So, but even that would be a step forward.
Yeah.
So, any members of the public? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion on the floor to approve the Veterans Affairs Staffing Amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Okay.
Now, Dave, budget guidelines?
Budget guidelines. I introduced these at the M&A meeting and asked if you had any questions or comments on it. It's a number, it's actually 11 different short statements about things that we should look to in the budget process, and if those are acceptable to you, I'd like to get some direction from you by getting approval of that.
Okay. As you recall, he did pass that out at a previous meeting and asked for comment from commissioners, and we're under kind of a short timeline, obviously, because we sort of waited to address the budget until Dave got here. So I think it's a good format to follow, and as we move on to our work plan and our strategic plan, we can always develop something a little more involved, I guess, for the following year. All right, any other discussion? Commissioner Wheelock.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to accept the 2013 budget guidelines as drafted and provided by the county administrator.
Okay, moved by Wheelock. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richardson. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Very good.
The next item is recruitment of a road commission manager, and I'll let Jen Seaman tell us all about it.
Jen Seaman, Human Resources Director. The Road Commission has asked me to lead their search for a new road commission manager. And in front of you is, I'm asking for approval to authorize the county administrator and controller to enter into a contract with them, which would be reviewed by the prosecuting attorney to lead the recruitment process of hiring a road commission manager.
Commissioner Lemkow.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Lemkow, second by Commissioner Henschel to approve Jen Seaman and the county administrator to move forward with the outline in terms of how to go about the recruitment for a new road commission manager under contract. I guess the only question I have is, since we will be moving forward with kind of the process for the application, and maybe, I don't know, you'll have to help me with this, because actually it's technically their responsibility as the road commission to hire the road commission manager. So at what point in time do we go our process and then they step in and take over their processes? I guess is the question I have.
I'm actually looking at it similar to what I did in terms of for hiring Dave Benda, because that was approved by you guys. I just kind of led the search, kept everybody informed where we were at in the process, but I would not be making any recommendations throughout the process, but it would be led the same way that it was
would be led
for the
same
county
way,
administrator.
And then you would just report to the county road commission?
Yeah, I would collect the applications for them. It's really a similar
Right,
process.
Okay, all right, I understand now. So you would go through the process, and then they would make their narrowing down, and then they would do their interviews, and they would make their selection. All right, okay. Any other questions?
Mr. McKellar, the chairman of the road commission, is
Yes.
here if you want to make a comment.
Mr. Keller,
Do you want to make a comment?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mark McKellar, Chair of the Grand Traverse County Road Commission. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with Jen on this, because of her professionalism and the recruitment side of it. None of us have that experience. And to answer the chairman's question directly is that absolutely the board of the road commissioners will hire the manager. What we're looking for is based on the parameters that we designed with Jen. We hope to get a selection of good recruits, and that will give us, set the stage, you might say, so that we can go through our process. But we're going to predetermine a lot of criteria with Jen in a formal meeting.
Right.
And so it should be a much better process, I guess,
Right,
because of her involvement, I hope.
All right, good, thank you. All right, Commissioner Richardson.
So Jen, basically, instead of working for the county, for part of the time, you'll be working for the road commission. And you're just going to be keeping track of your hours, and then we will bill them for your time at the $44.57 hourly rate.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And you have time to do this, I assume?
As long as she doesn't have to do the classification plan.
I got a few months off. No, yeah. Yep, I'll make time for it.
All right.
Okay, anyone else on the board? Commissioner Gilman.
I'd like to jump right in and move to authorize the administration enter into a contract with the road commission pending approval by the prosecuting attorney.
I think we already have a
We already
motion
did.
by...
Did we already, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have
That
a
was
motion
Herb.
by Lemko.
You're way ahead of me.
That's okay. That's all right.
I thirded.
Commissioner Hedges?
I just wanted to commend the road commission board and Jen for this amount of collaboration. You know, we've got a really talented person on the staff of the county, and, you know, rather than, you know, try to figure it out on their own, we come together as a community and solve a problem, and I really want to applaud you for that, and I know it'll go well, because I know you've got a very talented person.
Something tells me she might be doing more of these. That's the word you saw about how good she really is.
As long as it keeps working out.
How many more
That's it.
No, I'm
You've
just
done
talking
pretty
about,
well
you know,
for us so far.
divisions of, yeah, right, okay.
You're batting 1,000.
yeah. Well, you know, I could see other organizations, you know, like, you know, affiliations that we have with other, you know, like the airport and the pavilions and all that kind of stuff. Not that anyone's leaving, but... Okay.
I think the key piece about this is here's an opportunity for
I
the
usually
county
write it down.
and the road commission to provide service without having to duplicate the service. Right. You know, there's no reason that the county or the road commission needs to have an HR department, and when we can do it for them, and in the long run, going to be cheaper to the taxpayers of the community.
Right. Right. Okay, anybody, any members of the public wish to comment on this? Any other comments from the commission?
Well, I guess it answered my question.
Yeah.
All right. All right, all in favor of the motion to move forward with this? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And we have appointments to boards and committees, and that is in a resolution. The ad hoc committee did meet on Friday, July 20th, interview the candidates, and these are the recommendations of the ad hoc committee. Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, if it's okay with you, if we just take these one at a time.
Sure.
I would move that we appoint Dennis Hoxie and Patricia Link to the Farmland Preservation Board for terms that expire June 30th, 2015.
Okay, moved by Richardson, seconded by Wheelock. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. All right, that one's done. Now we have Commissioner Richardson.
And I would move that we appoint Dean Bott to a 5-year term to the Hospital Finance Authority, term expiring June 30th, 2017.
Is there a second? Support. Second by Wheelock. Is there discussion? Commissioner Lemkow.
Do we have to waive the rules in order to appoint Mr. Bott, because that exceeds the 12-year
No.
limit? So we
No.
don't-
We took the 12 years out.
No, we didn't, but we can overrule ourselves,
Okay,
which we're doing.
but we don't have to
Yeah, it
waive
was
the
a
rules
guide.
before we do it?
No.
It was a guideline.
The policy ended up being a
Okay.
guideline.
All right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Thomas.
Well, did you miss one?
I'm just taking each
One at a
I know,
board,
but you had two of them on farmland.
Yeah, he did both.
He did
He
both.
did both.
I did
Oh, I-
both
I-
on farmland.
Yep. Yep.
I missed the
That's all
second
right.
name.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
It's in the air.
They were the same term.
Third.
It hasn't been transmitted yet. Okay. All right, any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, we have the third one.
To the third one, too. Okay.
Commissioner Richardson.
I move we appoint to the Community Corrections Advisory Board Pat Livingston as a representative of Communications Media, Mary Wayne as a representative of the general public, and Mike Gillespie as a representative of the service area, to terms ending December 31st, 2014.
Okay, Support. Support, okay. Moved by Richardson, supported by Commissioner Henschel for the Community Corrections Advisory Board appointments. Any discussion? Yeah. Go ahead, Commissioner Wheeler.
I guess the only discussion, and, just for your information, one of these candidates did have a past criminal history. He has been clean for an extended length of time, and, he kind of fits into that service industry portion, but we find that most of the people in that industry have been involved in that problem, or else they wouldn't be there. And the subcommittee, I believe, felt the man brought a lot of commitment to make the program better. But because we have a discussion regularly about doing background checks on these people, I think it's important that the commissioners understand that he was very forthright with his previous problem, and we, the subcommittee, felt that it was not a detriment. In fact, maybe it was an asset to us to have him in that position.
And just to clarify for the board, this particular position this person was appointed to be designated is one that the board wanted to have someone that actually went through the system, the criminal justice system, went through the alcohol and drug training and rehab part. So they would be someone that would give input as to, what happened when they went through the process, the good and the bad, and what improvements could be made. And this particular person ended up getting employed at one of the agencies that actually do the work, which is really a tribute to, how well this person's done. So that's just a footnote. Commissioner Maxwell.
I think it should be noted that this individual truly turned his life around and has just his accomplishments, earning a college degree, helping others with the problem that he has suffered with. I just think he'll be a real asset to this board.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else? Commissioner Richardson.
Well, yeah, I was just going to echo what Sonny said about thinking that it was probably an asset, because it seems to me that that perspective would be very useful on this particular board.
Right,
So,
exactly.
I can't imagine it'd be a problem.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the Community Corrections Advisory Board appointments. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right. That takes care of that item. Is there any other items under Administrator's report that we have to deal with?
No, Mr. Chairman?
Okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm wondering if Dean could give us an update of the meeting for the G5 meeting that we had last Thursday? Monday night.
Monday
It's
night.
Monday.
Monday night.
7 o'clock.
On the septic treatment finance. If
I will
that's all right.
try. We did meet with the Board of Public Works Finance, Special Finance Committee. A number of township individuals were there and some of the county commissioners. We discussed the option of calling the larger of the two septic treatment facility bonds, which have a call date of November 1st of this year. We explained to them that the county would consider contributing 50% of that call. And we were basically asking the township supervisors to go back to their township boards to see if they were able to come up with their 50%. Over the course of 2 hours, we were kind of all over the place. We talked quite a bit about a special assessment and a financial model that takes these items into consideration in terms of what lower debt service would do to a special assessment, being fully aware of the fact that the special assessment cannot be used to cover either the current bond debt service or the debt service under a different financing mechanism if we would loan funds to the to this venture, so to speak. Actually, we spent a lot of time talking about the model and different scenarios, and obviously there's a need to still consider that special assessment if we do call the bonds, because that is not the complete answer to solving the cash flow issue with the septic treatment facility. We also then, a couple of the township supervisors are fully aware that the November payments that are due on not only the larger bond issue, which is callable, and the smaller issue, which has a November 1st principal payment and interest payment, will cause a cash deficit and an operating deficit in that fund. So they ask us to consider including those payments in a loan restructuring agreement. And then we were also asked to consider rolling into those loan agreements and related resolutions the inclusion of the bond that's callable November 1st of 2013. That the meeting did seem to end on a positive note. That's what everybody is attempting to do at this point. Bill Rokas and I have talked to John Axe, our bond counsel, about some of the things that we were presented with Monday night. It's all of this is able to be done in agreements, provided the townships continue to move forward. And that is one thing that we haven't really identified yet. They seem to be committed to this, but yet in terms of whether all of the townships can contribute to this, I can't tell you that I know that fact at this point, but that is what they are trying to do. There are some details that we're working out. For example, what the interest rate would be on, and maybe a point that hasn't been discussed or mentioned is the fact that we're looking at restructuring and running that debt out 20 years, because that is one thing that we need to do to get the debt service down to a level where the plant can cash flow and have enough revenue from the waste streams that are coming in to cover the restructured debt service. Part of the plan is to lower the processing fee on the septage, which is currently 12 cents a gallon, down to 6 cents a gallon. And running those numbers, we are able to carry, to cover the debt load, including the restructured larger bond and the smaller bond. So it works. We need to review the model a lot closer and some of the assumptions, but everything is moving forward. We had some issues early on, but I think overall the meeting was positive, and everybody knows what we need to do in a very short time frame. If you have any questions, I know that's a brief overview. I'll try to kind of clean up the rough edges.
Just one item, Dean, I guess the last time I talked with the chairman, not the chairman, but Supervisor Korn, they were proceeding with a plan to identify what was available in our delinquent tax fund out, way and above what was necessary for us to pay the delinquent taxes, which there was a preliminary number of $1.2 million, 3 or 4 or something like that, and that was the portion we would participate with, and then the difference on the balance to pay off the bonds, the 5 townships would take their percentage and pay that amount and clear the rest out. And then the question came up about what do we do with that one situation where we had the previous loan, the 50/50 loan. So I figured we'd have to figure that one out, maybe, come up with an understanding how to deal with that. But I think the critical thing is we got to make sure all 5 townships are in, because if we have one township that's out, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a deal. Or we have a deal, and the one township that's out that isn't going to proceed with some kind of payment or their percentage of their portion, then I think that we would have to pursue legal matters to get a judgment and garnish their treasury.
I think if I may, the incentive for the townships to look at this seriously, and I believe they are doing that, is the fact that we still have the agreement, the sewer and water agreement, specifically the amendment that added the septic treatment facility, not only the bond, but the operating costs. We have a legal agreement in place whereby they are responsible for not only the operating costs if we have shortfalls, but the debt service. So we have a legal agreement that's in place that has, it's enforceable, and they know that. And I think things are moving the way they should be. There is a concern, but Bill Rolkis is working with the township treasurers to identify funds. I am aware of one township that would like to, this may not be the right term, but basically cash out right away, put their money in and not have a loan, just cash it out. But we're working through this, and I will keep you updated. I have kept Dave, Dave is very concerned about where we're at with this, and we talked this morning about it, and things are moving, I believe, in the right direction. And if there's any sign of trouble or any problem, I will make Dave aware of that, and we'll pass that on to you.
All right. Any comments? Commissioner Wheelock, and then Max Bauer, then Thomas.
Dean, if I understand this correctly, and just because, when we talk about calling this bond, the debt doesn't go away. The septic facility still has to pay that money back to the county, or the guaranteeing townships have to pay it back to the county. Is that correct?
That is correct. The debt that's currently outstanding, at least the bond issue that we can call on November 1st of this year, the legal term is that debt will be redeemed, called, and paid off, and replaced with new loan agreements that have repayment requirements, set interest rates, and a tie back to the original agreement. So it's a formal agreement.
The point was, when we say that we're going to call it and the county's going to pay 50% of it, I don't want everyone in the county to think, well, we didn't have anything to do with it. The 5 townships started this thing, and now all of a sudden we're paying for 50% of it. So, I think we're all in this a little bit together, but I think it's important to note that the county would be refinancing this, and we would be collecting the payments and collecting the interest that's being paid by
the county and 5 townships will be refinancing this with looking at the plant's operations to repay that debt service. This is a loan, it's an investment, it's not an appropriation from anyone's operating budget, and it will be accounted for accordingly. It's an investment, a loan that's being made to help that plant cash flow.
Commissioner Max Bauer.
Well, I said this Monday night, and I'm going to repeat myself. Dean, what I want to hear from you and from Bill is that the county is going to be kept in a safe, secure position, and why you believe the county is being kept in a safe, secure position.
I have taken notes, and I know you're going to ask me that. I am in the process of doing that right now.
Mr. Thomas?
Well, at some point, and it's too early yet, but at some point, this board has to decide to tell me, as a voting member on a BPW, whether we're end up in favor of a special assessment or opposed to it. Because I certainly might vote a little different than what this board might vote. But I feel it's my duty for us to decide our stand on it, and then I would carry it from there. But we do have to have all the numbers together first to see what the special assessment is going to be, and a lot of other things. But just keep that in mind. Sometime between now and drop dead day, you don't want me running down there voting against the special assessment when all the rest of you are in favor of it. So,
Or vice versa?
or vice versa.
Commissioner Lemkool?
Yeah, the reason why I asked Dean to bring this up is because this is going to be on a fast timeline. We're going to have this before us next month, probably at RNA maybe meeting, probably.
Maybe.
Resource Administration meeting. So, and I hope that we can have that spreadsheet before us before we make that decision, and I want everybody to be aware of all the numbers that are there. I was very encouraged with that meeting that people were excited about the collaboration and how the county is willing to come up and be able to work on half of it. I would hope that we would be in the first position for the debt. That would be one of the things that I would require. And the other thing is our concern on the fees for the assessment. A lot of concern was expressed on the seniors that may not be able to afford to be able to have this because they're on a fixed income. Most seniors that are on a fixed income, if they meet certain criteria, can get a waiver for property taxes. So, I would encourage them that if you can't afford your property taxes, we don't want you to lose your house just because you got a $20 assessment fee going on for the septic treatment plant. But it's going to be a critical piece that we're going to have to do the bond and we're going to have to do the assessment. There is no doubt in my mind. The question is how much and how long. And they're looking at a 20-year assessment, but it has to be reviewed, I think, on a yearly basis, Dean?
5 years.
I think
it's
In
only 5
discussing
years.
that,
it's 5 years increments.
well, in discussing that with John Axe, you can definitely set in place a 20-year assessment, special assessment. The reason for looking at it on an annual basis would be for the benefit of being able to lower it if you didn't need it at the level that it was set at.
And they're going to need to have 2 public hearings. The Board of Public Works has to have 2 public hearings for this process to go forward. And they're the ones that are going to collect the fees, and they're the ones that are going to pay the bonds. It won't be coming through the county. We're only going to be able to be paid off on the bonds at the time when we set up.
Mr. Thomas?
Without Bill being here to go one way or the other, I don't think senior citizens can get out of paying their taxes.
An extension.
What they can get is they can get them put off. The taxes are still owed, and I think I'm right about that.
Okay. All right.
I don't think you can get your taxes waived.
I think you're
All
exactly
right,
right.
Commissioner Henschel?
Dean, as part of this process, and you may already be doing this, but I'd like to see a comparison if the county didn't get involved at all and they just redid the bonds at current rates, what would the interest rate be doing? And obviously you don't know because the bond market is such, you've got to put it out there and see what it goes for at an auction style. But look at similar bonds in the same time frame. What are they going for? And does it even make sense for us to get involved?
Well, I can answer that. We have looked at refunding this series a number of times over the course of 6 months. And the problem that you have, there's 10, 11 years. I mean, this is the first call date. And the present value savings just aren't there with the refunding. Granted, interest rates have changed since those bonds were issued, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't come back and said, let's simply refund these bonds. When you go out, do the rating that has to be done, and issue costs or incur costs to put together, all of the required disclosures and the official statements, there's not a lot of savings. And what the thing that works against you in that situation is the fact that you're still looking at the same term to repay. So what you're trying to do is see if there are interest savings by going to the market. There could be interest savings, but you're still looking at a very high debt service load that the operation simply can't cover. And that's the short. We have looked at refundings. We probably have 3 or 4 different times where we've looked at an outright refunding, and you just don't have a real savings from doing that. And it doesn't generate a reduction in the debt service whereby the plant can cash flow and not, cover the operations, make the debt service payments without having the townships to have to put money in at the end of each year to cover the shortfalls.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, thank you for that update. Anything else on the administrator's report?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We have no unfinished business. I believe we have no new business. We have second public comment. Any member of the public wish to speak at this time? Okay, we will close second public comment. We have commissioner committee reports. Anything to offer at this time? Commissioner Longcole.
Yeah, you each got an email from Midge Werner about the Wellness Expo coming up on the 17th. They're looking for volunteers. Sonny's offered to purchase a pig at the fair and for the 4-H.
We're going to do it from a private farmer.
Oh.
They didn't budget enough money to do it at the fair.
Okay. Well, whatever, we're going to have a pig there, and we're going to do the pig roast, and Sonny's going to need some help if you've had some previous carving experience.
Carving.
I'm sure that he could use your help in doing that, and we also need greeters for that. So please email Midge back or call her and let her know when you'd be available to work.
Okay.
It's always a fun time.
All right. Any other commissioner reports?
I've got a just small thing of note as your liaison to Metro Fire. Just another example of the quality of people that work in our community. Their Vice Chief Terry Flynn is out of town teaching. The U.S. Army contracted him to teach hazmat and chemistry, which I really don't know what that is, but just it's kind of like our sheriff's deputies that keep getting hired away from like the FBI, and it's just great the quality of people that work in our community that are involved on a larger scale.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
That's it, you got me.
That's right, we got Dick.
All right. That concludes commissioner committee reports, notices, and announcements. Anything on that? Hearing none, we need there's no closed session.
No closed session. Move to adjourn.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Richardson to adjourn. Is there a second? Support. Support by Commissioner Wheelock. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
7:46.
Now that my term is about the end.
I looked at it.